But Daniel Bryan made this great comment. I think it was on... You know what it was? It was the sit-down interview that he had with Michael Cole on WWE's YouTube channel, WWE.com, whatever. It was from last Friday, from a couple days ago, okay? And he made this awesome point. I do agree that the NXT upstarts, people like Joe Nakamura, should not be called up to the main roster. Obviously, they deserve to be there, and they should be on the main roster right now. They're already stars. They were stars 5 years ago. Not even further back than that. They were stars from the moment they set foot in NXT. But I also agree they shouldn't be brought up unless they have creative direction. Like Balor, they finally brought up because the brand split finally happened, and he served his time in NXT, and it was time to push him as the face. Like, I get that. They shouldn't bring up Nakamura tomorrow if he's just going to be having matches with Sheamus or Del Rio. You know what I mean? That said, though, Daniel Bryan made this amazing comment. I know I didn't really agree with him during the Talking Smack thing, which I'll also allude to a little bit later on, and a few other news and notes. Before we get to SummerSlam that I want to address so I don't forget at the end of the show. But he made this great point about how Joe and Nakamura should be in the main roster right now. That's not really all that bold of a statement. But what he said really kind of rang true, in that he said that every superstar, every wrestler, can only take so many bumps. They have this finite amount of bumps that their body can take, and it's different for everybody. Obviously, Daniel Bryan had to retire early, because his body can only take so much punishment before he could possibly get killed in the ring via another concussion or whatever. Okay, so what he's trying to say is that Joe and Nakamura are in the absolute prime of their careers right now. I don't know how old Nakamura is. I want to say in his mid-30s. I know Joe is like 39, 35 around. I think 35, 36. But he's up there too. But he made a great point that the more bumps they take down in NXT, the less bumps, the less amount of bumps they'll be able to take on the main roster. And that's kind of shortening their overall span on the main roster. And I'm thinking, you know what? That's a really, really, really good point. And as much as I wish Nakamura and Joe were on the main roster right now, and as much as I love them in NXT, they do need to be on Raw and SmackDown. NXT will be just fine. They continue to produce stars, guys like No Way Jose. They'll continue to sign guys like Bobby Roode. You know what I mean? They'll continue to have stars to carry that promotion. But at the end of the day, as important as NXT is, nothing is more important than Raw and SmackDown, which is what this company is depending on. NXT is their future, I understand that, but Raw and SmackDown are what are selling out arenas. They are what are selling pay-per-views, all this other stuff, ratings, getting us numbers, getting WWE numbers, all that other kind of stuff. Nakamura, I mean, he almost said it's pretty much like a joke. It is pretty much a joke that Nakamura and Samoa Joe are still down in NXT. Joe has been down there for almost a year and a half. And only now is he getting probably the chance to get called up. I imagine they're going to do Nakamura Joe too, as they should, at the next TakeOver special, which I presume will be in October. But beyond that, if he sticks around in NXT, it's a joke. It already is a joke that he's still down there. The guy should have been down on the main roster yesterday. Not even yesterday, last year. Even before that 5 years ago. And that's how good of a wrestler he is, and he should be up there right now. So again, Samoa Joe, it's only inevitable. I know he kind of came in with the thought process. I know about a year ago, I was watching some Table for Three with him, Neville, and I think Bo Dallas, and they were talking about how Joe is kind of brought in to add momentum to the NXT roster, but he's been doing so freaking good, dude, that if they don't bring him up and he's NXT bound forever, it's a major mistake. And I don't think they ever really thought that they counted on Joe getting as hot as he has as an act over in NXT. They probably expected him to have some good matches here and there with Balor and Corbin and a few others, but I don't really think they thought it through, in that they thought that he would end up becoming the star that he is, as big of a priority as he is in NXT. So again, he should be up on... I would put him on SmackDown. Raw has enough stars as it is. I know Balor's gone from Raw, but it's still pretty stacked. They still have Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Cesaro, Rollins, Reigns, Brock Lesnar whenever he's around, Chris Jericho. They have a lot of stars they can depend upon. SmackDown is making the most of their limited roster, and I cannot commend them more for that. But Samoa Joe belongs in that roster. There's not many real credible heel show. AJ is just taking the ball and absolutely freaking darting with it. Not even running with it, darting with it. But that's about it. Del Rio's been suspended. Not even if he was around, no one would care anyway. The guy's hardly a top heel. Bray Wyatt is getting there. He has the whole feud with Orton going, which is good. I like that, and I'll probably talk about that later. But who else? Really, I mean, Baron Corbin is rarely on TV. He should be a top heel, but he's not, or at least not right now. AJ Styles is really the only credible heel that roster has left right now. Even Bray Wyatt should be a babyface. And they should turn Ziggler, but I think they really need Samoa Joe on that SmackDown brand. So when Cena comes back from whatever the hell he's doing, I think he's filming a show or whatever, American Grit, he can feud with Samoa Joe, hopefully at WrestleMania. That'd be a money match in my opinion.